Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. I'm Bill Yankovi, and, it doesn't feel like it is Survivor Series weekend, but it is. It is Survivor Series weekend. The Survivor Series is this coming Sunday night, going to preview all the matches that are going to take place this Sunday at the Survivor Series. Plus, going to talk about other wrestling news as well. It's kind of a slow week for the wrestling news if you really think about it. Not much has really happened news-wise, but gonna try my best to give you all the best show that I possibly can do, which is why you all are here, because you want to listen to me, talk about the sport that we love, and that is professional wrestling. Let's talk about, the big story of the week, and it actually stems from last week, believe it or not, and that is the release of Zelina Vega. And she basically, the story broke last Friday. So the show had already been put up. So Zelina Vega gets fired. She gets released. What the report came out to be is that WWE has put in this ridiculous rule where it's like, well, if you're a WWE wrestler, you got to give up your Twitch account. And they had like a month to do it. So Zelina, who has a Twitch account, not only did she not pull it down, but she also created an OnlyFans, or fans only, whatever that's called, account. And she she kept that up, and I guess they had a talk, and she didn't want to take her Twitch account down, which I could totally understand. And she gets released. She gets let go. And on her Twitter, which is very interesting, about 15 minutes before the release, or the announcement of the release, she put up a tweet that basically said, "I support unionization," because one of the latest talks, at least with WWE, has been, if Joe Biden was to win the presidential election, which he did, that Andrew Yang, who is an entrepreneur, would try to convince the wrestlers to form a union, which is one of those conversation pieces that just has been going on for so long. The whole idea of a union, it's just one of those things that I'm not sure it'll ever actually happen, but it's one of those, let's wait and see if it really does happen. So, she gets released, we're all up in arms, and I understand the people who, if you're going to have a conversation with people about this, I can understand the people's argument of they were told to drop their account, they were told not to do this anymore, and she refused to do it. I understand that. But here, my argument, not only with Twitch, but anything, third party that the wrestlers were doing before this, let's say some of these wrestlers don't get used on TV all the time. I mean, Zelina, until recently, was used a lot, and then they started not to use her. So, you mean to tell me that they can't find another way to make money by doing Twitch, which does not hurt WWE at all, number one. And number two is kind of like YouTube. That's how I've always described Twitch. It's YouTube for video gamers. That's how I've always described it. And it's not going to do any harm. It's not going to do anything bad to these wrestlers, to the men and women who are on the main roster, who have this, Twitch account. Now, the fans only thing, that part I could sort of understand. But with Twitch and even Cameo, that one I don't really get why they're going to ban them. But I really think WWE has overreacted, although how many times can you say that sentence? And the answer is a lot. And, I just don't see the need for why Zelina had to get fired. If you were going to fire her because she wasn't doing her job, okay, that's one thing. I understand. But you're going to let her go because she doesn't want to let go of her Twitch account. I don't know. This is one of these arguments where you could go two ways. You could go on this side, you could go on that side, and you'd have a legit argument. I really do. But with Zelina Vega, I don't think WWE's realized it yet, or they won't realize it for a while. How good of a talent Zelina Vega is. I'm not saying she's the greatest wrestler in the world. She's not. But when you're talking about on the mic, as a manager, as a personality, she's one of the total packages in professional wrestling. And to just dump her on the corner like that is very disappointing. And then I read this morning actually, that she wanted to talk to Vince, and Vince did not want to talk to her. I mean, that's kind of disheartening on that part too. And then people are like, well, then I think Aleister Black should follow his wife. No! Let Aleister do whatever he's going to do. Let him do whatever he wants to do. And I'm sure that's the same thing Zelina Vega said to him. You do what you want to do. Don't do something, don't follow me. Do what you want to do. And I don't know. It makes me sort of be pushed more away from WWE than anything else. So, but yeah, I mean, Zelina Vega got released. She's in her late 20s, so, age-wise, she's still got many good years in her. But we will see what happens with Zelina. I am a fan of hers. I got a chance to meet her many years ago, and she is an absolute sweetheart of a woman. Absolute sweetheart. And I really think she's going to be all right. I really, really do. Ring of Honor announced this week that there will be a final battle, and it's going to be on pay-per-view. Want to mark this date down. Friday night, December the 18th. It's 4 weeks away. Going to be an empty arena show, just like their TV tapings have been. No matches have been announced yet for the pay-per-view. I would guess maybe this weekend on Ring of Honor TV they'll start announcing some matches for the pay-per-view. But I mean, I'm really high on Ring of Honor after the pure title tournament that they had, which was really, really good. I think in a weird way, the pandemic was the perfect thing to happen to Ring of Honor, and now they're in a position to where like they're absolutely, getting everything and everybody refreshed, and it's just, let's start over again. We'll make things fresh. And I think they've done so far a pretty good job with it. I'd hope that they'll continue to do that, with this pay-per-view coming up on December the 18th. So we'll have to wait and see how things go there. Also announced, this one was kind of not a surprise if you we're kind of looking into this, but we are going to have the War Games for the next takeover. We're going to have a women's and we're going to have a men's War Games event. The men's has been announced. It's going to be Pat McAfee and his crew of Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Pete Dunne against Undisputed Era, and that's going to be the men's War Games match. And then the women's War Game match is going to be Shotzi Blackheart and her team against Candice LeRae and her team, who they're each going to have, representing them remains to be seen, but I'm sure we're going to find out within a matter of short time, maybe within the next week, who the participants are going to be on both sides for the War Games, for the women's War Game, which last year was really, really fun to watch. It'll be interesting to see how they do this. It'll be interesting if they do it at the Capitol Wrestling Center or if maybe they do it in Tropicana Field. And that's going to lead into this other story where we found out this week that WWE, December 4th, is going to be the last day that they use the Orlando arena that they're in for their version of Thunderdome, and they're going to move to Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida, which, for those of you who don't know, is the home of the Tampa Bay Rays of Major League Baseball. And be interesting to see how that turns out. Hopefully it turns out to be good, because it is a nice, huge stadium, but, remains to be seen where we go from there. All right, I haven't talked about The Masked Singer in a while because, there are times when I'm preparing for the show that I forget. So, got to talk about this week's show. Had a really strong week here. Cheryl Hines was the guest judge on the show, and the top four. This was actually a double elimination. This was their first double elimination on The Masked Singer. Seahorse sang Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. Crocodile sang Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis. Whatchamacallit sang Lean Back by Terror Squad featuring Fat Joe and Remy Ma. And The Serpent sang Cool by the Jonas Brothers. So, how they did this, how they revealed everything, was they revealed the individual that got the most votes to advance to the Super 6, which ended up being Seahorse. I think that was pretty obvious. Seahorse was going to advance to the Super 6. Then they did the first elimination, which ended up being Whatchamacallit. So whatchamacallit got eliminated, and he ended up being Lonzo Ball. Who knew Lonzo Ball had a little bit of groove in him? And then the second elimination ended up being the Serpent. So the Crocodile advances into the Super 6. And the Serpent was Dr. Elvis Francois. And for those who are unaware, he, has been in the pandemic. He's been doing the pandemic and been on the front lines. And he became sort of, like a, instant celebrity singing. And so he got to be on The Masked Singer. So that's really, really cool. So right now we have 4 of the 6 for the Super 6. Sun, Popcorn, Seahorse, and Crocodile have advanced to the Super 6. The final group, Group C, will be next week. And as a matter of fact, I'm looking at the schedule. Excuse me. And it says that it's going to be on Thanksgiving night that the Group C finale will be. So I'm going to take its word for it. So that means after the Washington football team, or the Washington Redskins, I still call them the Washington Redskins, beat the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day because they're the 4:30 game, you stay on Fox, watch The Masked Singer as it comes down to the mushroom, the broccoli, and the jellyfish, all vying for the last 2 spots in the Super 6. And then the Super 6 is on December the 2nd. And then on December the 9th is going to be a holiday sing-along special. So I don't know if there's going to be any eliminations on the 9th or not. But we'll have to wait and see. So, should be really good. I think Group B might actually have been the strongest group ever in the history of The Masked Singer. Because they had some incredible talent, just amazing talent, singing in that group. Maybe, like I said, maybe the strongest singing group ever. So, one individual who has had a very good few weeks as of late is Sasha Banks. She won the SmackDown Women's title at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, successfully defended the title for the first time recently on SmackDown, and she was on one of the more recent episodes, of The Mandalorian. Well, she was on WWE The Bump, which I don't ever watch, and she made an interesting comment that I want to read. I want to read this one quote, and I'm going to tell you why it kind of baffles me, and then I'll go into my whole thought. I am such a history maker. I'm just so better than everything. I have to stop putting over Beyonce so much because I'm like almost there. I'm almost there, Beyonce. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Alright. First off, let me say this. I will never take away the talent that Sasha Banks has, because she has come a long, long way. She really has. But the one thing that she's developed over these last few years that has kind of rubbed people the wrong way is she's developed a big ego. And there are people who I think, fans that will admit that. And then, she had the thing at WrestleMania, may or may not have happened, where she and Bayley sat on the floor after losing the women's tag titles. We really will never know if that was true or not. But, oh my God, to compare yourself to Beyonce, of all people. No. No. What are you doing? I mean, if you want my honest opinion, you know what? I'm going to give you my honest opinion of Beyonce. Because unless I do something, unless I don't do anything, this is going to be maybe the shortest show ever. So I'm going to give you my honest thoughts of Beyonce. Beyonce's overrated. Okay? Is she beautiful? Yeah, she is. She's beautiful. I'm not going to deny that. Does she have a good singing voice? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. Is she the greatest thing God ever created? No. And that's where the problem is. All of these people, all of the, Beyonce fans, the Beehive and all that, it's like, oh my God, Beyonce's the greatest thing ever. She can't do no wrong. She's, it's like if you say anything bad about Beyonce, you're the Antichrist or something like that. But, I mean, first off, Beyonce's a terrible actress. She cannot act for her life, number one. Number two, while I do think she has a good voice, I think she's totally overrated as a singer. And number three, she depends a lot on her looks. And the only reason Jay-Z is even relevant is because he married her. Beyonce has this huge ego that I can't stand. It's like, you either like me or you're against me. And I'm against her. Because I don't think she's that great. I really don't think she's the greatest thing ever created. I really don't think that. And if you really buy into the thought that Beyonce's the greatest thing ever, she's really not. And I don't think she's that good of a person, to be honest with you. I really don't think she cares about people like you or me. So, for Sasha to go and in a way compare herself to Beyonce, I'm like, no, what are you doing? Any dignity you had, might have just been thrown away because of that one quote. I mean, no, what are you doing? What are you saying? You're better than this. You're better than this. But I guess not. So we're going to have to live with Sasha Banks now being Beyonce. So I think her new nickname is now going to be Sasha Beyonce, I guess would be the right way to put it. So, but no, girl, why would you make that comment? Why would you make that comment? Ugh, stupid. Stupid! There, I said my thing. Okay, before I get into the Survivor Series and talk about this card, I thought we'd have a little fun on our Facebook group. You type in That Wrestling Show fan group in the search bar, add yourself on, and more than likely we'll add you in unless you're a spam. But so what I did is I took the taglines of all the Survivor Series that have ever had a tagline, and not all of them have had taglines. And I put up a poll, and I let you guys decide what you think is the best or are the best taglines ever used for the Survivor Series. So, and I haven't placed my votes yet, so we're going to, I'm going to read them off, and then I'm going to place my votes. So, let's start with the first one, Survivor Series 1987, the biggest event since WrestleMania 3. Oh, boy. All right, 1988, Teams of 5 strive to survive. All right, that's a good one. Survivor Series 89 and 90 used the same tagline, the WWF Thanksgiving Night Tradition. 1991 was the Gravest Challenge. You probably have heard that recently. 1993, the Thanksgiving Tradition All-Americans, and foreign fanatics wait for. Survivor Series 94, It's Time to Meet Your Maker. Survivor Series 95, Teams of Federation Superstars Battle It Out. Who's fit to survive? Survivor Series 96, Back to Attack. Survivor Series 97, Gang Rules. Survivor Series 98, Deadly Game, which had obviously the Deadly Game tournament. Survivor Series 2000, The Rules Have Changed. Survivor Series 2001, Winner Take All. Survivor Series 2003, A Fall from Grace. Okay, that's an odd one there. Survivor Series 2005, The Beginning of the End. Survivor Series 2008, Spoiling for a Fight. Survivor Series 2011, the most charismatic tag team of all time, Never Before, Never Again. Survivor Series 2015, There Is No Greater Survivor Series. Survivor Series 2016, Fantasy Warfare Just Got Real. 2018, Raw vs. SmackDown, a very creative one. And this year's Survivor Series tagline, Best of the Best. So those have been all the taglines ever used in the history of the Survivor Series. The first one that really pops to me is the Gravest Challenge. I just think that's a really cool one. It, is the setup for Undertaker Hogan as the main event of that Survivor Series. Just the Gravest Challenge. My God, what a creative idea that is. I really like that. Teams of 5 strive to survive. That's the main popular one here in the group. You know what? That does sound good. Saying it off your tongue. Teams of 5 strive to survive. That is a really good one. Deadly Game. Love Deadly Game. I thought that's a great one. Because, you have the tournament. So, I'm going to put that there. Gang Rules is another good one. I'm a little surprised that didn't get some love. Probably because not a lot of people knew that, Survivor Series 97 had a tagline for that show. Because everyone just remembers Montreal. But, yeah, it did have a tagline there. And I think my last one, I kind of like this year's slogan, Best of the Best. Because you have Raw and SmackDown. I think if NXT had been involved, it probably would have been Best of the Best of the Best. But, they didn't do that. So, I think my favorite of all of them is the Gravest Challenge. But Deadly Game and Gang Rules is so close. It's really, really close. Man, that Jersey Mike's is coming up on me. Yeah, I had Jersey Mike's tonight for dinner, so actually really good. If you've never had Jersey Mike's, go get some. It's really good. All right, let's get into some serious business now. The Survivor Series is this Sunday, and this is the show where Raw faces SmackDown, and we have team competition. We have a lot of competition, but one match that is not on the website that I do want to report on that is going to take place is going to be a battle royal featuring SmackDown wrestlers and Raw wrestlers. And that's going to be your pre-show match, your kickoff match. If I had to guess, I'm just going to pick somebody completely random. I'll say Mustafa Ali wins. I don't know, because basically there's going to be so many people on there that I'm not really sure who's going to win. So I'm going to say Mustafa Ali wins the Battle Royal. All right, let's get through the rest of the card. We'll start with the traditional men's Survivor Series elimination match. It's a 5-on-5. Team Raw is a pretty packed group right there. AJ Styles, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Matt Riddle. Team SmackDown, as of this recording, consists of Seth Rollins, King Corbin, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, and someone that will be announced on SmackDown tonight. I think SmackDown's going to win the men's elimination match, and I see Jey Uso being the survivor of the match. I see him being the lone survivor in that match. Then we have the women's Survivor Series elimination match. The Raw team got changed up this week. Originally, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke were on that team for the Survivor Series. They have been replaced now by Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce. The rest of the team consists of Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and Lana. Team SmackDown right now consists of Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, and Liv Morgan. The other two spots I'm pretty sure will be determined tonight on SmackDown. I see Raw winning that one, and I'm going to say Nia Jax and Lana are the sole survivors of the match. I mean, you've put Lana through the table a bajillion times. I think the payoff has to be Lana survives the match, I would think. But then again, I could be wrong. Bobby Lashley faces Sami Zayn. That could actually be an entertaining kind of match. I see Sami Zayn winning this one. The way Sami's been the last couple of weeks on TV has been entertaining. So I see Sami Zayn winning that match. Then you have the Street Profits and the New Day. That's going to be a fun tag match. I'm not sure if people are really paying close attention to that, but that's going to be a very, very good, maybe even a great tag team match. I'm gonna. Wow, this may be the toughest one to pick. Pardon me. I'm going to say the Street Profits win this match. I think, the New Day are the experienced team, but, with the Street Profits, they want, you want to make sure they have that big quality win, and I think they're going to get it here. Asuka against Sasha Beyonce Yanks, however I'm going to call it. I want to say Sasha's going to win this, but I just feel like somebody's going to get involved and Asuka's going to win this match. So I'm going to say Asuka wins here. And then the final match, Drew McIntyre against Roman Reigns, which is going to be, but I never thought I'd say this year, but Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns is going to be an amazing match at the Survivor Series. Oh my God, I never thought I'd say those words. I think Roman Reigns is going to win this match. Roman, if any one of them, here's the thing, because originally it was going to be Randy Orton and Roman, and then Randy dropped the title to Drew on Raw this week. Drew, in a way, can afford a loss here. He can afford a loss. Roman, by no means, can afford to lose this match. Because you have just been building on this new personality, this, tribal chief. You've been building and building and building, and it's been so damn good that if he loses here, I think it's going to really hurt the character. And I don't ever say that, but I really think it's going to hurt the character if he loses this match. So I'm going to say Roman Reigns wins the match, and SmackDown wins 4-3 for the Survivor Series. Oh, and we also have the final farewell of The Undertaker, where The Fiend is going to come and put the mandible claw on The Undertaker. Yeah, I said it. Big whoop. Want to fight about it? So yeah, that is your preview of the Survivor Series. And like I said earlier, it really does not feel like it's the Survivor Series. I think there's a lot of different things that makes it not feel like the Survivor Series. Probably the way they've built it up, and it's just not been a Survivor Series-esque kind of season. Excuse me. So, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for the show for this week. Get into the plugs, and I'll tell you all what we got in store next week on That Wrestling Show. If you guys have any questions or comments, send an email, wrestlingman@thatwrestlingshow.com. Follow the show on Twitter at WrestlingShow11. Follow the show on Instagram at That Wrestling Show. Don't follow us on Parler. We do not have Parler. Join the show's Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show fan group. You type that in the search bar, you are right there. Check out our store, teespring.com/That Wrestling Show podcast. And if you like what you hear, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/That Wrestling Show. The best tiers in the world for $1, for $2, and yes, for $3. You could join our Patreon. This week, on another Digital Citizen, Fro and Luke review the movie Freaky. I wonder if they're going to review the movie Spontaneous. I saw a commercial for that on TV recently. It looks like one of those funny bad movies. It's like, it's going to be bad, but you just need a laugh. I think that's what Spontaneous is. Plus, they talk about Moonbase 8. They give their review of episode 2 of that. Plus, a lot more. Skyquakes. That'll be an interesting conversation. This week on another Digital Citizen. Also, check out our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast with Joe Morata and Michael Quinn. They split the 200th episode into 2 parts. This week they do a review, and it is a review of The Unreal Story of Professional Wrestling. This used to air on A&E. I actually rented the videotape when I was at Blockbuster. Yes, there was a thing called Blockbuster Kids. I wouldn't be surprised if it's up on YouTube to check out. So if it is, check it out. The Unreal Story of Professional Wrestling. That is what they review, and it's a good review. It's a good review. The special is actually good for 1998. But check it out on our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast. By the way, check out or join their Patreon too, because at the $5 tier, they have put up recently their review of SummerSlam 91, one of my favorite shows of all time. Check that out. Also, check out Greetings from Allentown with Peter Winson. He watches one episode of wrestling each week and discusses it in his own unique way. This week, he watches an episode of UWF TV from July 19, 1986. where a bizarre video gives a behind-the-scene glimpse of the production of UWF TV. Exciting. Also, check out Juice Pro Wrestling, where this week, the Juice is not there. Oh my God. Juice, where are you? But Bruiser Bodie and Shredden are there. They're going to talk about Impact, AEW, WWE, and so much more this week on Juice Pro Wrestling. And check out Two Fans Review Wrestling podcast. This week, they talk about In Your House, Great White North. That's their feature, plus a lot of other shows that they review as well. Raw, Nitro, all those shows this week on Two Fans Review Wrestling podcast. If you're looking for non-wrestling related podcasts, check out the Best Pick Movie podcast with Tom, John, and Jess. 3 individuals who watch each and every Academy Award-winning Best Picture winner in no particular order. This week, they discussed the Best Picture winner of 2016, La La Land. Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Moonlight. Moonlight is what they review. Moonlight. I have it here on the paper. This is not a joke. Moonlight. So that's what they're going to review this week on the Best Pick Movie podcast. Check out Unspooled with Paul and Amy as they are in the series of Effed Up Families. This week they discuss the 1953 Japanese generational drama Tokyo Story. I don't think Randy Newman sang the main song to Tokyo Story on that one. So check it out. Also check out Last Stop Penn Station with Kerry Silken and Ian Riccaboni. This week, Kerry Silken talks about his friendship with Mick Foley. That is this week on Last Stop Penn Station. Also check out The Castle Vault, a chronological deep dive of Disney animated films powered by Disney+. 2 men watch each and every Disney animated film that is currently up on Disney+. This week, they discuss Winnie the Pooh. And I'm going to say this. It is a very good movie. I loved it. When my oldest nephew was a youngster, we would watch that movie all the time, and it was a fun movie to watch. I still think it's a good movie. It's very underrated. So check it out. The Castle Vault. And finally, check out Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, where this week they interviewed Jason Thiessen, the supervising director and executive producer of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And he discusses how, Weird Al Yankovic was a guest on there as Cheese Sandwich. Yes, that is a real thing. I've actually seen that. That's a good episode, too. So check it out on Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. All right, next week, obviously going to review the Survivor Series. But I think, we're into the thing, we're right around the holiday season. And, let's be honest, 2020's sort of been a bummer year for all of us. So, a couple of things I'm going to do. Besides next week, where I review the Survivor Series, that's going to be next week. Then, I got a nice surprise. Because in 2 weeks, I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a long, long time. And that is do a fan-requested review. This is a review that's been asked for a long time, and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet, but I think you guys are going to enjoy that. That'll be on December the 4th. And then December the 11th, I want to do something different for that show. It might be a watch-along. So, who knows? I really haven't figured it out what, at least for the 11th, is going to be. But then the 18th, going to preview Final Battle and TLC. And the season finale for this year, I've been dealing with this beep in the laundry room. Anyway, is either going to be December 23rd or December 24th. That's going to be the season finale for that wrestling show. I haven't decided yet, but, coming real close to the end of the year, another season of that wrestling show. So I figure, let's have some fun on the last few weeks of this year. So, on that note, everybody have a great, safe weekend. If you're going to watch a Survivor Series, enjoy watching the Survivor Series. Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And when you're done eating up on that turkey, stuffing yourself with stuffing, maybe getting yourself a piece of pumpkin pie, pecan pie, peanut butter pie, pound cake. I know I'm going to give me some pound cake. Come back here next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And as always, wrestle on.